Good morning, everybody. Get a couple things set up real quick. Appreciate everybody joining us on a Monday morning. We know that's not always easy. For those that don't know me, I'm Megan McFall. I'm the director down here, the regional director for the Small Business Development Center, as well as I'm over the Spark Center here in southeastern Utah. I am excited to be here today. We've got a good group that will be joining us, as well as we are live on Facebook, YouTube, as well as Instagram and LinkedIn. We are trying the multiple social media live channel thing. Hopefully it works out and I'm able to catch all of the questions. I know I missed a lot of questions on last week's. Was the first time that we tried it. So hopefully as we get used to it, I will be able to kind of pick things up a little bit better and be able to catch on to the different little information and things like that. Can you guys hear me? Will you put in the chat for those that are on Zoom and make sure that you can hear me? As I switch over to the lapel mic, it sometimes doesn't always pick up. So if you put in the chat that you can hear me. Also, for those that are on social media, let us know where you're joining us from and what industry that you're in. As many of you know, I'm down here in southeastern Utah. We're highly tourism-based industry, so I help a lot of businesses within the tourism industry and hospitality industry. I myself come from the e-commerce world as well as the wealth management, and so a lot of as I talk today, will come from those experiences. But if I know what industries that you're from, I can help kind of pinpoint and be able to tell you or be able to kind of shape the webinar to those industries. So please feel free to let us know what industries you're joining us from, as well as you have questions relating to what your business or how you're going to utilize this information. Please feel free to put those in the comments and in the chat. So that I can answer those throughout the workshop. If you are on Zoom, feel free to cut in and ask questions live. I teach 3 classes on Monday, and by the end of those 3 classes, I'm really tired of hearing the sound of my own voice. So I'd love to have you join us and talk so that I can basically tailor this so that it is actually relevant to those that are on the webinar. So today we're going to talk about collaborating, meet, and working remotely. For those of us that live in rural areas, we have learned how to adapt, especially with COVID, and to build our businesses on a remote basis in order to expand and develop new revenue streams, which is absolutely an incredible option. Well, in the past few years with COVID, other larger businesses have realized the power of remote employment, as well as how well they can expand their businesses, not only locally, but globally as well. And it has been an amazing tool. I'd like to thank our 2 co-hosts today. Our first co-host is the Rural Online Initiative. That's a Utah-based program here at Utah State University. They've been an incredible partner as we've developed these programs and able to share this information with all of you, as well as the Grow with Google program. Grow with Google has developed this content and allowed us to share this with you. So we appreciate those 2 partners today. On our agenda today, we're going to update critical business information online. It is going to be critical for your businesses to be completely updated online. And we're going to go over that information basically with you. But we're going to go in depth next week. So if you're not currently online and don't have this information, then go to or register for our class next week so we can go into depth on how to do this. The next, we're going to communicate with your customers and employees using Google Meets and Gmail, and then we're going to access files from anywhere. We'll show you how to do that with Google Drive. And last but not least, we're going to recap and show you what utilized resources that you have access to. Whoops, I hit the double hit sign. Okay. So first thing I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you to sign into your Google account. So if you go to google.com, go up in that right-hand corner, hit sign in, and put in your credentials for your Gmail account. If you don't have a Gmail account, go ahead and set one up. It's very quick, very easy, and it is free to you. When you sign up for a Gmail account, you get access to all of the Google applications that we share within our 9 a.m. Grow with Google classes. And it gives you the power to do all kinds of things, especially when you're a business owner. If you're going to be a business owner and you already have a personal Gmail account, I'd recommend that you set up a business Gmail account so you can link all your business items to that business Gmail account and not your personal account. That way you have them separately and have all your business stuff all in one. So go ahead and do that. If you have many users within your home that use Gmail, such as kids and things like that, I encourage you to check that right-hand corner and make sure that it's you that signed in and not your kids. If it is, go ahead and switch your account to your account. That's a thing that we're happening a lot as kids are coming home and using Google Classrooms and things like that. Their items are being logged in and stay logged in. So make sure that you're on your account and not your kid's account. Okay. First thing we're going to talk about is updating your business information. So we have 3 things that work together very well online for your business, and we need to make sure that they're all updated. Number 1 is your Google My Business. Next week's class is all about Google My Business. So if you've not gotten that set up, please register for that class. Next is Google Ads. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. And then last but not least is your website. These 3 things work in tandem together so that they are able to build your business, work on your SEOs, and get your business in front of online users. Okay, Google My Business. Google My Business is essentially a hub for your business for online users based on the Google search or google.com. Okay, here's where you can edit your business description. You get to control what is online about your business within your Google My Business hub. You get to update your hours. If you have specialty hours, for a long time, for example, during COVID, people were temporarily closed for a moment and then they might have reopened for limited hours. You can do that. If you have senior hours or maybe a happy hour time frame or something like that, you can easily put those in within Google My Business and be able to advertise that and promote that to those around you. Okay, you publish posts. A lot of people don't know that your Google My Business can be used and simultaneously along with your social media accounts to publish posts and information about your business. It's an incredible tool and it actually helps your SEOs. So when you're creating a post for, say, Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn or any of those, you can go ahead and double up on that and use the same type of information and post it on your Google My Business. And it'll go out and it'll come up within your Google searches. Again, new information coming out on your business within your Google My Business will actually help your SEOs. Okay, you can turn on messaging. This is a great opportunity for people and your clients to connect with you about your business, about your product, about your services. You can also add managers to help you. Here's a caveat to that though. When you add somebody to your account, you get to choose what level of access that they have to do within your account. Never make anybody else an owner of your account. You need to maintain ownership of your account and never let anybody else. This is a mistake a lot of people do for like marketing firms or other partners and things like that, is they make them all co-owners. The problem is that gives them all the same accesses that you have, and they can actually remove you from that account, and then you've lost access to your account. So you should be the only owner to your accounts, and you can make them admins, you can make them users. There's different levels depending on what applications that you're adding them to, but never make anybody else another owner to your account, so you always maintain control. Okay, next, last but not least, mark your business as temporarily closed. You might be going under construction or remodeling so that you need to mark your business temporarily closed. We still have some COVID restrictions and things like that that we're seeing from time to time. Those might be things that you might need to mark things as temporarily closed. You can do that without hurting your business, but still notifying your people that you're temporarily closed and when you'll be reopening. Okay, so on your Google My Business you're able to edit your info. Oh, this is the description. This is where you're going to want to maximize your SEO, your search engine optimization for your business. This is where you can use your keywords that you find in your analytics. We talked about that in the analytics class. You can utilize those really well right here and get that information out about your business and maximize your opportunities. This is the place where you can adjust your hours. Again, you can set basic standard hours, but you can also add additional hours. A lot of restaurants right now are open for lunch, they close in between, and then they open for dinner. It's a money-making, cost-saving effect, but here's where you can show those different hours. Here's basic information again, where you can show special things, like you might be able to show that you have added delivery, or maybe a new drive-up window, or maybe you have pickup or senior hours. These are the things that you can add in your special information. Okay. Again, we talked about creating posts. A lot of people forget that this is a really important aspect of the Google My Business side of things. You can add posts just like you do on Facebook or social media. You can create it here. You can add photos if you'd like. You can do special offers and discounts. You can even put on events that you are hosting, so that as people Google your business, those kind of things are coming up. So examples of posts are what's new with your business. Businesses is always revolving and changing. You might have a new product coming out or a new service. You might be remodeling the inside of your business. If you're temporarily closed for remodel, this is a great way to keep your clients and your customers updated as to what's going on and that you're coming back. And this is a great way to keep them involved so you don't lose them, okay? Adding your products. This is a great way to sell products online, but also to keep them in your client's eye view. You can put special offers with discounts and call to actions, as well as show off any events you might be having, a grand opening, a partnership, a collaboration. Okay, we talked about adding a user. You would, at the bottom of your list on the left-hand side, there's users. By clicking on that, it'll show who is the current users on the page. If you've just really started this, it might just be you, or it might be your entire marketing team, depending on the level of your business. But in order to add somebody, you click on users, and then the screen will pop up, just like if you were on a document. You're going to go and add a user in the corner, and it'll be your standard share information type screen. You're going to need the user information as far as their email, and then you're going to select their role. Again, you're going to want to be the only owner of your business and put everybody else in other listings so they can't take you off your business. Okay. Under the information, there's a section where you can actually mark yourself as temporarily closed. We've already talked about that, but it's a great tool to utilize. Google Ads. We talked in depth on our Google Ads webinar. If you missed that one and you're curious about Google Ads, we have that uploaded to our YouTube page. Feel free to go and check that out. But Google Ads is another great place that works in sync with your Google My Business as well as your website. And so you're able to advertise your business based on your analytics, based on those that are visiting your page, based on their behaviors, and be able to build your business. Okay. As you evaluate your ad campaigns, you want to review the assets thoroughly. Go through your ads completely, because what you're putting out there is going to be a lot of people's first impression of your business. Spelling errors and things like that is what people are going to pick up almost immediately. So make sure you review those completely, as well as photos. Make sure your photos are authentically yours and not pulled off the internet that are unsplashed. There are great websites that you can utilize unsplashed photos, but make sure that you're able to use those, okay? Proactively communicate business changes. This is a great way to actively communicate those changes within your business. A new product launch, a grand opening, whatever that looks like for your business, okay? They can create a helpful message, and they can, you need to really consider the context and the tone of voice in the writing of your ads. It goes back to knowing your ideal client, the demographic, where they live, all of those details that you can find within your analytics. Okay. How to pause a Google ad. So we talk about when you launch a Google ad, it might be the best thing you've ever had, and it might completely blow up and your phone is ringing off the hook, right? You might need to pause that because your business was not ready for that ad. On the reverse side, it might get no traction whatsoever, and you need to pause it and review the content and figure out what tweaks need to be made so that you're not wasting your money. We're all about return on investment. Your marketing dollars, it doesn't matter if you're a multi-million-dollar company or if you're just launching and you haven't made your first sale yet. Every penny you put into marketing is vital to get a return on investment. And so making sure that you are watching that and figuring out the best return on investment is going to be vitally important. So pausing your campaign, you can go in and stop the ads that are from showing. And then you can choose which campaigns you want to stop. So if you have multiple campaigns going on at the same time, you can basically decide, I want to pause this one, I want to pause this one. And then you can be able to re-enable that, edit if you need to edit the ones that aren't working very well, and then resume them at any time that you'd like as well. Okay, your website. So updating your website with critical information is going to be vitally important to make sure that for your ability to share with your customers online and remotely, okay? Make sure you share your advertisements and your announcements, add news and resources to your website that's going to be important to your clients, list your operational changes, provide contact information, and then reassure your customers as to what is going on, if you have any changes, and keep them engaged in the process. Okay, communicating with your customers and your employees. So we've all become experts, I think, in pretty much a video conference call. The fact that we're doing this on webinar over multiple different channels shows you how versatile we have become with video calls and video chats, as well as live streaming and things like that. Google Meets is one of the options that you can utilize when connecting with your customers online. Okay, you can join and host meetings from any device, which is an incredible value. You can be on tablets or your smartphones or even a desktop computer. Okay, you can meet with up to 250 people. You can record your meetings, which if you are a business owner could be a valuable asset. And then all meetings are encrypted, which is another valuable asset with everything we're hearing about cybersecurity that's going on right now. Is going to be really, really important, but just ongoing, we need to watch our cybersecurity because it's becoming a more important issue the longer or just in general every day, even without our current happenings in society. So Google has a couple of different plans. They have a free plan, which is what most people use. This is what comes with your Gmail account. You can do 100 users. Your duration of meetings can be up to 24 hours. You have unlimited number of meetings, and ultimately it is free. If you're a paid subscriber, you can do up to 250. A lot of the same information, but plans start about $6 a month, depending on how many people within your organization will be utilizing the Google Meets. Okay, so how can businesses benefit from Google Meets? That's what I get all the time. What's the difference between Google Meets and the other platforms? Okay, the big thing is, especially if you have remote employees, which we all at one point or another probably did in 2020 and 2021, you feel more connected when working remotely. If you have the ability to get on and talk to somebody, even if it's virtually, you still see a face, it makes a huge difference, okay? Getting on with people on a virtual basis even, and brainstorming as a team can be vital to your organization. Schedule with remote clients for consultation. If you are a business owner and your clients are remote, being able to get on and actually see them. I run business consulting out of our center here in Blanding, but my area reaches all the way from Grant County, which is mainly Moab, all the way down into Navajo Nation. And so I have a huge area. Some of the areas take 3 or 4 hours to drive to. I'm not able to meet with everybody face to face, but I can meet with people remotely. And so being able to schedule remotely and getting on and talking to them And being able to see a face is very, very different from having to do a phone call. You're able to connect with them all, get facial features and body language versus not having that connection. And last but not least, you can host online classes. This has become a huge value add for different businesses by adding those online classes and teaching their clients and customers, whereas they used to come into their office and do one-on-one, maybe consulting or one-on-one classes with them. Now they're able to host online classes and teach multiple people all at the same time, which makes a huge difference. I love it for the different applications that we use here because I'm able to connect with more people, but also by recording my classes, because the times that I teach, not every business owner is able to actually join my classes. So if I can record my classes, I can either choose to send that recording to them independently so that they have that, or I can upload it to YouTube and create a YouTube and share it with multiple different people at their schedule, which has a huge value add. So by being able to do that adds a huge opportunity for businesses. So how video conferencing works. So Google Meets and Google Calendars work simultaneously together. It's a powerful tool, especially within a business, to be able to set up a calendar meeting on your calendar and then add a Google Meets invite with the link and everything to it and send it directly out to your client. And we're going to talk about that next. So using Google Meets, you can go directly to meet.google.com. As long as you were signed up in that right-hand corner, it will automatically connect you to your account. And that's going to be key. That's one great thing about Google is if you are signed into your account, anytime you go to any one of these applications homepage, you'll be automatically connected to your personal account. That's why I tell you, if you've got multiple users or multiple Google users, when you first get onto your computer, make sure it's your account and not maybe your kid's account or your husband's or spouse's or whoever's on there. Excuse me, so that you are connecting to your stuff. I've done it where I have been here, but been on my business account and showed up on a meeting for USU. And so I showed up as my business name and not as USU, and it was a little bit of a problem. So I learned the hard way. So that's why I keep telling everybody. But it seems to be a common problem that people are not seeing their own meetings. It's because they're not on their account. So as you can see, this is essentially what it would look like a homepage. So on the left-hand side, you will see you can start a new meeting right immediately, go right into a new meeting without scheduling it, and go from there. On the right-hand side, you can see that it has your schedule of meetings, what you've put on the schedule pre and advance, what time it is, and the description that you put in there so that you can help keep track of what's going on. Okay. So using Google Calendars is another opportunity how you do that. So when you go to Google Calendars, you can add a meeting like you normally would. Okay, you know, the top left-hand corner, create add a meeting, and it essentially pops up this box. Okay, you add the title, the date, the time, and then there is an add video conferencing that you can click and it automatically generates that. They're automatically connected, which is really, really great. And it'll generate that information for you. Okay, you can add phone numbers if you would like, so that people that are not able to connect via video stream can connect by the phone. For those of us that are in really rural areas, like San Juan County, sometimes that's the only way people can connect because there's not enough broadband for them to get on with a video, so they have to call in. And so we've learned to utilize that tool a lot. So for adding more information, so there's a more details options down at the bottom, so you can add more information. This is where you can attach files. This is where you can put your meeting notes. This is where you can add additional information that you need for that meeting, which is really, really nice. And then this is the invite that will be sent out to all of the people that you've added to that calendar invite. So you add the emails of all the people that were in that invite, and it doesn't matter whether they're part of Google or if it's an external email, it will send this same email invite out to everybody. So then they can say yes or no, they're going to be there, but also it gives them the link to the meeting. When you're joining the meeting, you can just open up the invite like it shows here, and you can just click on that link and it'll take you directly to the meeting. Okay, or you can go into your calendar, open up the calendar or the option that you scheduled, and you can click join Google Meets to start your meeting right there. Okay, so those are some two different ways that you can do it. When you click on join meeting, this is what comes up, whether you're on your device, your smartphone device, or you are on your desktop or laptop. This is essentially what asks. It brings up, it shows you what your computer screen or what your video will show you. It gives you the opportunity to kind of check and make sure there's nothing in the background you don't want people to see. It will give you the option to blur your background if that's what you choose, or change that. It also will give you the option to kind of check. I don't know about you, but sometimes my hair gets a little unruly when I walk in the door and the wind blows behind me, things like that. It gives you that opportunity to check things and make sure that you look the way you want to look before you go in. It's really important, especially going into an interview or an important meeting with a boss, that you take that opportunity. Once you're ready, you click join meeting, and then you will wait for the host to allow you to go in. Okay. As the host, Google Meeting features, here's some what it will essentially look like once you go in, whether you're the host or not. Okay, up in that right-hand corner, you will see the chat button. You see a little dialog box, essentially what it is, and it'll show you the number of chats or new chats that are available for you. Okay, down at the bottom is kind of your control panel. You have your microphone that gives you the ability to mute yourself and unmute yourself. That red phone in the middle is the hang up. You hit that, you're going to end your call and disconnect. Okay, and then on the right hand side is your camera. That allows you to turn your camera on and off depending on whether you need that or not. Okay. As the host or the presenter, you're going to have, everybody will have these, but if you're presenting, you're going to want to know what is on these. So on that far right side, you'll be able to share your screen. And these are your different options. You can share your entire screen, so if people get to see everything that's on your screen. Okay, you get to choose a Chrome tab or just one window. And then you can present that to everybody within your organization. A lot of people don't know that you can just choose a particular program or just choose a particular like Chrome window rather than sharing everything that's on their desktop, which is really, really nice added feature within video chat. As the host, you can record the meeting, and that's with the three dots on the far right side. You can record your meeting, and that gives you that option again so that you have that copy for your records, but also can upload it. You can go full screen on this same three dots. You can choose whiteboard and draw. That was something that I had a hard time not being able, because I'm a big whiteboard person, have to draw things out. It was really nice to be able to start utilizing that. There's some other really great key components there to learn and utilize. Okay, some best practices when you're utilizing Google Meets or any video call. Okay, so you want to make a good impression. Keep your camera on. A lot of times we turn our cameras off and think, oh great, it's a virtual call. I turn my camera off and I can get some work done. Yeah, you can, but think about this. Especially if you're in a meeting with a big boss, what kind of impression is that keeping that camera off going to give that big boss? Be there, be alert, as if that you're in the same room. Keep your camera on. Choose a neutral background. If you're not going to have a virtual background, an approved virtual background, keep your or make sure that it is neutral. Okay, a lot of times we'll get a background that will actually hurt our eyes or make our eyes tired after a long time. And so keep that in mind. Okay, an external mic. So again, making sure that people can hear us, a better sound quality is going to be very, very important. And then mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Feedback is a huge problem when you're on virtual calls. And so muting, having everybody mute their microphone when they're not speaking is going to be really important. Another thing to think about is when you are on virtual and when you're on camera, wear solid color clothing. They work best with cameras. Avoid like stripes and big prints and things like that. Again, those can make your eyes tired, as well as they can, if you're doing virtual backgrounds, they can actually fade you into the virtual background. So be thinking about that as you're putting your stuff together. Okay, now we're talking about Gmail. Setting up automatic responses. When you're working with people remotely and you don't want to live, eat, sleep, and breathe business, you want your downtime and create some work-life balance, create up some automatic responses that will be able to help your clients and help your customers, but also create some time for you. So some things on automatic responses, some frequently asked questions, updates that people are asking on a regular basis, and then changes. So you can set up that and have that information, kind of a thanks for emailing us. We'll get back to you within the next 24 to 48 hours. Here's some common questions that we are being asked, some answer type information. Make it appropriate to your industry. Okay, so how you set those up is you go to the settings tab, and then you go to general. And then under general, you'll have the option to do a vacation reminder reply, and that's what I would use to set up these automatic replies. Okay, and in that you can just basically type out your email. So in this particular one, it said we'll reply to you soon. Our current store is closed to walk-in traffic. This is basically a COVID response. Here's basically some questions, a Q&A type situation. Here's the question, here's the answer, so that if that was their question, they can get their answer immediately. And it really will help your clients get back to you with what they want, or it will really help you get back to your clients faster, so they're not waiting on you, and then you'll be able to respond to them when you have a chance. But then you can click Save Changes, and it will automatically send that out to every email that you get. Okay, accessing your files from anywhere. So Google Drive is an amazing aspect as a cloud server. You update and download files from other formats. You don't have to use like Google Docs and Google Sheets and things like that. You can utilize any format. So if you go up and you go to google.com, into that right-hand corner, make sure you're logged in. But if you have what's called the waffle, a lot of people refer to it as the waffle anyway. It's the 9 dots. If you click on that, it'll bring down the drop down of all of the different applications that are available to you through Google. Okay, you want to click on Google Drive. Now, something that a lot of people don't know, your Google Drive icon is going to move. All your icons essentially are going to move based on which ones you use the most. So if it's not in the same spot as it was yesterday, this is why. Things are going to adjust based on what you use the most. I use Google My Business the most, so that is right up there, the very, very top. Then my Google Drive is probably down a little bit further because I access my Google Drive through other channels, through Trello and things like that. So just think about that. If it's not exactly where you left it, it's probably because it's not utilized as much. Okay, so you're going to click on Google Drive. And you're going to go into your Google Drive essentially. Okay, all your files you've ever set up is going to be there. The great part about Google Drive is that you can share files, you can control who gets to see your files and what accesses they have, whether they're an editor or a commenter or they have full access. And then you also can have the files available when you're offline. So Google's an online-based program, but they have set it up. So like, for example, I used to fly a lot, not so much anymore, but I used to fly a lot. And anytime I flew, I wanted to make sure that I had access to files, so I had something to work on the plane. And you can do that same thing, so you can go on and make it accessible offline so that you are able to work on it at any point, whether you have remote access or not. I use it more down here to make sure that I have it regardless of whether I have access at a business or not, things like that. Okay. So to upload a file, so this is your Google Drive. To upload a file, You're going to go to the new up in the corner, the left-hand corner, and then it's going to give you the options, the different options that you have. So you can start a new file or upload a new file from there. You can organize your files for easier access as well. Okay. Sharing and commenting access. So you can give other people sharing and commenting access by clicking on a comment or adding that within your like docs or sheets or any of your programs. The little plus bar is along the top of your toolbar, or if you drag along and you highlight a section of your documentation and you look along the right-hand side of the sheet, it'll have that same icon that you can click on there as well. So those are two different ways, but you're going to need to share your document with somebody else in order for them to get on it and be able to make comments and share. So this is essentially what the share boxes look like. You can give different accesses to different documents to the same people. It's not straight across the board. So let's say that we're on a committee together and I have in my Google Docs, I have the budget and I have the agenda. That might be for organizing, say, a conference. Since we're talking about business, we're organizing a conference together. I have full access to the budget, I have full access to the agenda, but I need to give you access to some of these, but I need to give you different accesses. So let's say that you're over finance and I need to give you editable access to the budget. So I would put your email here and change your access to edit on that and then send that to you. Then you can go in and make any edits to that budget because you're in the finance, you have that information, I may not, and that way you can do all of that information there. But let's say on the agenda, you probably don't need to have a part of the agenda. You just need to know what's going on there and make some different comments. And so I give you commenter status on the agenda. So I would use your email and I would give you commenter status on the agenda and send that. So you can have the same people with different accesses in different files across the board. You just control that, but just be very cautious. You're not going to want to share an entire file with people unless everybody on that file is going to want to have the same accesses across the board. Okay, access from your mobile device. Okay, you can actually download all of these apps on your mobile device and have access to all of this, no matter where you are, and be able to work remotely. It's an incredible opportunity. Okay, accessing your files offline. So if you are in a file, like a Google Docs or anything like that, and you want to connect it while you don't have any Wi-Fi or any cell service. So what you would do is you would go into the file and down about halfway down, this specifically states make available offline. So what you'll do is you'll click that. It'll make that file available offline within your devices. Then when you go and you edit that device, on that device, it will hold those changes until you reconnect to Wi-Fi or to cell. And then it will upload those changes once you have reconnection established. So if you're working on something and you're working on it offline, obviously those changes are not going to be able to be saved. So if you have somebody else somewhere else working on it and they're connected online, they're not going to see your saved changes until you reconnect and they're able to update those. So, okay, some recap. Okay, your to-do list. Update your Google My Business. Modify your ads and pausing your ads, making sure that you're getting the best return on investment for your business right now. Updating your website information, making sure you keep that current. Our websites are easy to forget about, or we think, oh, it's only for 90 days. We'll just leave it as it is so we don't have to go back. It has a huge impact on your business and your customers if your website's not updated. And then use Google Meets to connect with your customers as well as your employees that are working remotely. Update your Gmail vacation responder with frequently asked questions and other things that your clients might ask you on a regular basis. And then sharing files on Google Drive. Okay. So those are the things that we went over today. In the chat, I'm actually going to share with you, so don't don't leave too quickly. I'm going to share with you a handout. As we wrap up, I'll get that handout to you in the chat. So last but not least, if you like 5-minute lessons to help you build your business, market your business, things like that, I encourage you to download Primer. You go g.co /primer. It'll send lessons to you based on your preferences and your profile. Okay, if you need some quick help with any of this information or your business, you can go and get those little quick help videos on YouTube at g.co /grow/quick help and get those little 5-minute videos. Google has an online library for teachers, businesses, job seekers, and developers. You're more than welcome to check that out at google.com /grow. And then here is the list of all of the applications that you have access to as a Gmail user or as a workplace user if you have a workplace for your business. Okay, let me go ahead and get that dropped into. How about I stop sharing my screen too? I tend to do that a lot. While I am pulling up the handout, if you would like to, if you have any questions, feel free to put those in the chat. I've got to pull up the other online platforms as well, so we can make sure we get all of the questions answered. So if you've got any questions, feel free to put those in the chats or in the comments. I'm going to go ahead and pull up all of the different platforms so that I make sure that I hit all of them up. Does anybody on Zoom have any questions? Since those are the first ones I see. Okay, so I've got a question on YouTube asking about, so somebody else has claimed your Google My Business. How do I get it back? So Google My Business, somebody else has claimed your business and verified your business on Google My Business, as I'm assuming is what you're asking for. I'm not sure in what context they've claimed it, whether it be your website, your name, different things like that. So there's different aspects and how they can claim that. So I'm going to need a little more content. But the basic idea, there's different ways. You need to find out who's claimed your business for starters. It's actually, it's one of the reasons why Google is set up, like they actually mail you out a postcard so you can verify your business and different things like that. If somebody else has claimed that, you need to see who, like, get the information on that. We can always go to Google and say that this is the wrong person and challenge it. It does take time, and it's not a guarantee that you're going to get it back, because obviously they've verified that that is their business. And so there's more information that's going to be needed and more research that's going to need to be done. But if somebody has fraudulently claimed your business, then you can try and get that back that way. But it's a matter of following through on that. One of the problems that we had with one of my businesses, again, going back with, I do all the mistakes that I tell you guys not to do. When we hired a marketing firm, the marketing firm had verified our business to their address, and getting it verified and getting it back to me was quite the effort. We had to verify that they were a marketing firm, that we no longer had them. And then finally they had given me back that business. But again, it goes back to not allowing other people to do that for you. You need to do those kind of steps as business owners. They're easy to do. That just takes a little bit of time. But when you're having other people do those steps for you, you're giving up control to your business, and you give the opportunity for somebody else to have that ownership status listed. And so they have control. And so you don't want to, you want to make sure that that's not an issue that you're facing. What's the difference between Zoom and Meets? Well, Zoom and Meets work very close or very similar to each other. They're just different platforms, and how you choose to use them. Like I said, we're using Zoom today for this particular webinar, but I use Google Meets a lot as well on different webinars. So it's just a matter of preference, as well as people being able to get on. Zoom is more known, and people are more use it more at ease, whereas Google Meets is a little bit newer, even though it has been around just as long, but people did not have the knowledge of it because it's one of those hidden apps that didn't really get a lot of traction until COVID. And so it's just, they're very, very close, very, very similar. It's just a matter of personal preference. So I'm being asked if we've still got scholarships for the Google Career Certificates. Yes, I still have scholarships for the Google Career Certificates, and those are still available. You try to start cohorts at the first of the month, but if I have enough applicants to start a cohort in the middle of the month, I will do that. I have a lot of scholarships left. So if you are in the United States and you're wanting to apply for one of the scholarships, feel free to do that. I just take those applications, we send them through our board, and I will send you an email if that is something. I have a lot of people that applied and then did not follow through on them, and so I've got extra scholarships. So feel free to apply for those, and let's see if we can get you on the next cohort for sure. What is the link for our classes or for next week's class? So we put all of our classes on Eventbrite. Well, we put all of our Google classes on Eventbrite. So let me just pull up the general link. So then you can see all of our classes. I have everything scheduled out, I want to say all the way through August. The reason why I didn't go past August is because Google comes out with new content all the time, new classes all the time, and I didn't want to get too far out because I wanted to make sure that I included the new classes. In fact, there's 3, if I remember right. Last time I looked at the new classes that I don't have in this series, and so I'll be adding those at the end, starting in, I think it's August. I'll just add those onto the end, and then we'll start the series over again. So for those that need and in the chat. Okay, any other questions before we close off for today? Okay, we're going to go ahead and close off today. I appreciate everybody joining us. Okay, so someone just asked about the application process for the Google scholarships. So the application process is a simple Google form application, just basically to gather information. And then because we have 100 scholarships that we have to use, I didn't say we have to use 100 scholarships. They're available. I will get the link for them just one second. We have 100 scholarships essentially. And then once I get the applications, we send them through our board. And as long as they qualify, then we will send out onboarding, essentially email to have you book an onboarding. And then I go through the process with you. We've got a couple of people. I know on social media, I've got a couple of people. I know on Zoom, I've got at least 1, not 2 people. I can't see all the names from all the way back here that have done the certificate process. It's a really great opportunity, but that's essentially you fill out the Google Forms. There's not a whole lot of, it's underserved communities and things like that specifically we're looking for, rural communities, underserved communities, things like that. There's we want to make sure that we're keeping our criteria. We want to serve as many people as we possibly can, ultimately, at the end of the day. So if you feel like that's a good fit, or if you have specific questions and you'd like to address them with me individually, go ahead and email or call my center, and we can go over those. But we would really like to utilize those. I only have a short time that I get to utilize those. That's why I would really, really like to be able to have people apply for those and get those out so people can learn those skills. You do have access to the platform for 6 months, and we have several people that have completed their first in like 3 months. I've got one that completed their first certificate in 3 weeks. I think that he did it and was able to move on to the second certificate. So you have 6 months. If you're ever able to do all of them in 6 months, great. Then you have all of those credentials behind you. And ultimately on the back end, with tons of support for you, we're working with DWS directly to make sure that you have support within here in Utah, if you're in Utah, to have support there, as well as on a national level. Google has set up what's called the Employer Consortium to help you get jobs specifically there, where they're working with 150 different employers that have jobs within those certificates, as well as they've got a resume writing group, and they've got, you have a 1-year access beyond after you've completed your certificate to help you write your resume, to help you do practice interviews, to help you build those resources to get those jobs. So right now in those particular sectors, there's 1.3 million open jobs, and the majority of them are willing to work remotely. So what we like to do is have you get the certificate, and about halfway through, we actually line you up with the ROI program. I encourage you to get the ROI program. If you are in Utah, it's a requirement to the scholarship to complete the ROI program. And so if you're national, it's not a requirement because I can't do that. In Utah, I can. So that's a little bit different. If you're part of the ROI program right now, great, please apply. I'm on Slack all the time telling you to apply. So there's that. You bet, Dustin. So let me get that link for you real quick. Are there any other questions? Okay. Let me drop this into the other chats real quick. Okay, so if you go to that link, it'll take you to my training page, and it has all of my trainings that I do, and it's quite a bit. But on the top 2, it has a Grow with Google and it's Google Career Certificates. You're going to go to the Google Career Certificates, and it says Apply Now. Click the Apply Now, and it'll take you to the Google applications. The reason why I send you to the website and not the form is because some devices won't take the form. It'll take the website. Like Slack, for example, doesn't like the form and things like that. So I send you the website. But ultimately hit Apply Now, fill out that Google Forms, and then it'll send me that information. I send it through for approval saying I want this person meets the qualifications, and then I will send you an email to set up a virtual meeting. It's basically an onboarding process where I take you through the process. So perfect. Any other questions? Very cool. Thanks everybody for joining us. We will see you next week on Grow with Google, and we will go over Google My Business and how to actually create your profile and get all of that set up fully. You guys have a wonderful week, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.